Cinema Shogun here, and I'm not sure how things are where you live, but have you ever passed by like a big abandoned business or maybe a big warehouse on the side of the road and just wondered what goes on inside of these warehouses, if anything? I don't know about you all, but when I pass by places like this, I often wonder, what is really going on inside of these locations? I mean, there's no businesses running out of these locations as far as I know, and I thought that this was just an abandoned warehouse on the side of the road, but there seems to be cars parked outside. You know, depending on where you live, you may pass by places like this pretty often. But what if I told you that sometimes these little warehouses that you pass by as you drive to wherever you're driving to, what if I told you that sometimes they are the home to secret laboratories where people are literally conducting tests on dangerous viruses right in your hometown, right beneath your nose? You may think that's a warehouse that no one inhabits anymore, but little do you know, it may be the home of a secret lab where they hold things like the beer bug 19 and even worse, HIV. Now, if I told you this, you would probably think that, hey, that's a big conspiracy. You're crazy, bud. But the reality is, secret labs like this exist all over the world, and unfortunately, in this country as well. And one just got busted not too long ago in California. Now, I saw this news a few days ago while I was on vacation, and when I saw it, I immediately thought, like, hopefully this becomes a big story. This is something everyone should be talking about. But of course, that's not the case. Of course, this is something that's kind of being swept under the rug. And so look over here. Look, we created 50 more charges for Donald Trump. Everyone pay attention to that. Meanwhile, local authorities are discovering secret labs that are working on viruses right here in our hometowns. I want to go ahead and dive into this article because this is really scary. While I'm reading this article, though, go ahead and start dropping some of your thoughts and your comments down below, and make sure you hit that like button. But let's go ahead and see what's happening here. Local and federal authorities spent months investigating a warehouse in Fresno County, California, that they suspect was home to an illegal, unlicensed laboratory full of lab mice, medical waste, and hazardous materials. The Fresno County Public Health Department has been evaluating and assessing the activities of an unlicensed laboratory in Reedley, the health department's assistant director, Joe Prado, said in a statement on Thursday. All of the biological agents were destroyed by July 7th, following a legal abatement process by the agency. The evaluation required coordination and collaboration with multiple federal and state agencies to determine and classify biological and chemical contents on site, in addition to assessing jurisdictional authority under this unique situation, Prado said. According to court documents, city officials inspected the location at 850 First Street on March 3rd for building violations and found various chemicals being stored. On March 16th, an inspection by county public health officials allegedly turned up medical devices thought to have been developed on site, such as COVID and pregnancy tests. So, I'm going to pause it right there. A lot of you people who are still out here going and getting tested for the beer bug, your tests are coming from experimental labs, okay? They're not even official tests. They're tests that are coming from experimental labs that are run out of illegal warehouses in California and in various other places in America. At least that's what it seems. That's what seems to be the case according to what they're uncovering here. But let's go forward. Certain rooms of the warehouse were found to contain several vessels of liquid and various apparatus, court documents said. Fresno County public health staff also observed blood, tissue, and other bodily fluid samples and serums, and thousands upon thousands of vials of unlabeled fluids and suspected biological material. Hundreds of mice at the warehouse were kept in inhumane conditions. The city took possession of the animals in April, euthanizing 773 of them, and more than 175 of them were found already dead. The CDC and prevention tested the substances and detected at least 20 potential infectious agents, including the coronavirus, HIV, hepatitis, and herpes, according to a Health and Human Services letter dated June 6th. An investigation found the tenant was Prestige Biotech, a company registered in Nevada and unlicensed for business in California. City officials spoke with Quinn Yao, who was identified as the company president through emails, including in the court documents. Yao told officials that Prestige Biotech moved assets belonging to a defunct company, Universal Meditech Inc., to the Reedley warehouse from Fresno after UMI went under. Prestige Biotech was a creditor to UMI and identified as its successor, according to court documents. Officials were unable to get any California-based address for either company except for the previous Fresno location from which UMI had been evicted. The other addresses provided for identified authorized agents were either empty offices or addresses in China that could not be verified. So long story short, they're not going to come out and say it. Basically, this was a Chinese BioLab operating, an illegal BioLab at that, operating out of California, okay? This isn't tied to American companies. This was a foreign BioLab, a freaking warehouse where they were storing deadly diseases and viruses. And I mean, anyone could have rented out this warehouse. It's not a specialized warehouse. If you had the money, you can go store your freaking collection of vinyl records at this warehouse if you wanted. But no, we got secret Chinese freaking biolabs working out of these, I can't call them factories, working out of these illegal warehouses, pumping out pregnancy tests, COVID tests, and doing Lord knows what type of experiments on the mice that they have there, and Lord knows what. And this should be one of the number one stories in America right now. But let's go ahead and finish out this article. Prestige Biotech is accused of failing to comply with orders, including providing a plan for biological abatement and disposal of the materials. Emails sent to Yao and Prestige Biotech requesting comment were never answered. Prado says that Fresno Prado says of Fresno that those associated with Prestige Biotech were not forthcoming with information. Court documents say they failed to provide any licensing or permit that allows experimentation or other laboratory activity. Reedley City Manager Nicole Seba says that officials have cleared the area of hazardous materials but are still working to empty the warehouse. Some of our federal partners still have active investigations going on. I can only speak to the building side of it. So my problem is that this has been going on for months. They knew about this warehouse for months, and it didn't really start making news until July. They've known about this for months, and now they're kind of half-assedly releasing tidbits of information about what's going on. Now that most of, I would assume, what you could call evidence has been destroyed. It's like, oh, don't worry, guys. We destroyed all of the biological material, all of the viruses and stuff they were storing in this warehouse. We destroyed it before we told you that this warehouse existed. So yeah, it seems like there's some shady stuff going on here. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that they finally reported on it, but this is how the media operates. It often is, how can I put it? What we're dealing with here in this country, and I think overall in the world in general, the media is nothing more than a tool used by the people who are running this world. There's a reason why the media did not report on this story until now. I find it very odd that they waited until most of the stuff from this warehouse was destroyed before really ringing the alarm that this warehouse existed. And once they do that, they make it harder for you to ever find answers about what was really going down here. Yes, it was a foreign lab that was not licensed. It was not okay for them to be conducting experiments in this warehouse on rats using deadly viruses and diseases, okay? But even though this was a Chinese-run BioLab, that doesn't mean that people in America were not aware of it. There are, I guarantee you, politicians and people out there who were aware of this, but in order to cover their tracks, they're going to dispose of all of the evidence and then ask questions. Which, I mean, I get it. You want to remove the stuff from this warehouse. But first, let's find who's accountable for all of this. Let's follow the trails and then get rid of the evidence. What they're doing is they're going to get rid of everything, and then basically this news story is going to blow away. But I got my eyes on it. I've had my eyes on it for days now. There hasn't been really any big updates, and I've been waiting. I've seen a couple of people talk about it, but I've been waiting for the mainstream media to hop on this story, but of course, that's not happening. But, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We have Chinese-run biolabs doing experiments on deadly viruses right in our hometowns and cities. If it's happening in California, I can guarantee you it's happening in other places. This is not the only one. Let me know your thoughts, though, down below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.